Okay, Wendy, the recording is in process. A
Yep.
special edition here one day after your birthday. We did this yesterday because we were busy last during the week last week. But so much has happened, Wendy.
Yes.
Alabama played Georgia last night.
It was bad. It was the ugliest game, Trey. I don't even know what there is to say about that game other than it was just really, really bad. Like we looked bad. We looked discombobulated. The only bright spot was defense. I mean, I know we didn't get any turnovers, but I just feel like defense played a heck of a ball game. Um, I mean, you
But the
can't get.
real story is
Uh,
yeah, we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to
oh,
it. The real story is today the CFP comes out.
yeah.
Now I went to early church today to get home to see the CFP. Never thought Alabama was going to be left out. Alabama did not move in the rankings, and Alabama will be playing the Oklahoma Sooners in the kickoff game of the CFP, not this Friday, but the next Friday in
Yep.
Stormin' Norman, Oklahoma at 7 p.m. Wendy, get your popcorn ready. Let's just go down the list real quick of who got in and how it worked out. Indiana is the number one seed. Ohio State is the number two seed. The Indiana Ohio State game last night was a really good game to watch. It was fun, and I mean, it's like Indiana is a football team. Then you have the Georgia Bulldogs at number three. Georgia stays at three. Texas Tech comes in at four. They all four have byes. And then the rest of the bracket is JMU is going to be playing Oregon at Oregon. Oregon gets a home game. We just said Alabama will be playing at Oklahoma. Oklahoma gets a home game. Tulane gets in.
Yep.
Tulane gets in. They'll be playing Ole Miss at Ole Miss. Ole Miss gets a home game and a very intriguing game for people in the South for sure.
Yep.
And Miami gets in over Notre Dame, which basically was the biggest topic of discussion on the CFP. And they will be playing Texas A&M at Texas A&M. So
Yep.
1 through 12 set. A lot of talk going into the CFP. Let's get back to last night's game. So we got that part laid out, and we don't. Sorry, we don't have this real structured, but this is what we do. Wendy, last night Georgia comes on, Georgia Alabama comes on, and I think we're going to see at least a competitive football game.
Yep.
Trying to beat Kirby Smart and Georgia all these times in a row. I mean, you're just at some point the other shoe's going to drop. And I was talking to Barry yesterday. It's like it's not like back in the day Vanderbilt, but it's not like you're playing Vanderbilt where you've beat them 15 straight times, and at a certain point in time they're going to beat you. Well, they really don't
Right.
have that good of a team, and they didn't have that good of a coach. Now we're talking about the old Vanderbilt. But
Right.
with Georgia, they have a great coach. They
Yes.
have a great team. I mean,
Yes.
eventually it will catch up with to you, Wendy. And it looks like Alabama just wasn't ready for the game. Wendy, your thoughts on Alabama, Georgia?
Look, we laid an egg, dude. We looked so bad. When I say like, and I kind of saw it from like the very, very beginning. It was like we're trying to run the ball, y'all. We do not have a run game. We haven't had a run game all year. Y'all think we're just going to magically be able to run the ball against Georgia? You know what I mean? Um, we get a stop, they get a stop, kind of going back and forth a little bit at the beginning of the game, third down out, third down out. Then they block a punt. And I knew when that punt got blocked that it probably was not going to go our way. I thought we'd be more competitive in the game, but right then and there I was like, this ain't going to be our day. The main problem I saw, and I've slept on it, I've gone through multiple emotions over the last 24 hours. I've gone from we don't even deserve to be in it. I don't care if we get in it. I don't care if we play another game this season. To waking up this morning to we better get in it. They can't move us for playing, penalize us for playing a game. But the what I see the most is I feel like Ty Simpson has been discombobulated for weeks. And I don't, it could be coaching, it could be the line. And I think probably it's all of it combined. But it's almost like when Ty Simpson gets behind the sticks and big things have got to happen to get us back into a ball game, he starts pushing throws, making mistakes. And it just doesn't feel like we could ever really get back to meshing, in my opinion. That's how it felt. We were never in control of the game. We were playing behind the six the entire time, and it's a miracle we scored 7 points. A miracle.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right, Wendy. The block punt is a huge momentum change. There's a lot of stats out there to back up that you're really not going to win the game if you get a punt blocked. And Georgia, just like Kirby Smart said, they controlled the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
They controlled the line of scrimmage. Alabama was on their heels the entire game. It's I finally crossed the bridge yesterday to Ty Simpson might need to sit out a little bit.
Yep.
And then it got in my mind, it's like, well, if he benches Ty Simpson in this game and the committee looks tomorrow and go, well, we don't even know who Alabama's quarterback is. Alabama doesn't even know who their quarterback is. They're discombobulated. All these other teams are just cruising along. I'm pretty sure that's the reason we did not see the backup quarterback in. Because if you go back to Alabama's history, and we all know it when Tua Tagovailoa came in at the halftime of the Georgia game, we know why that happened. That didn't happen because Alabama had a bad half of football.
Right.
That happened because the last 4 or 5 weeks, Jalen Hurts could not get really big passes, and we really were winning games because we were a better team, not because we were a better offense.
Right.
So that decision wasn't made in a vacuum. And I think Kalen DeBoer could have sent out one of our backups yesterday and had the same reasoning. This has been a sputtering offense for, it seems like, a month now, Wendy. And I don't quite understand with the coaching staff that we have, that it's like we're still like trying to stick a square peg through a round hole. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, and with you saying that, the other thing is, say we take Ty Simpson out and we put in Mac, and he drops an egg, right? So now we put our backup in, and you're right, is the committee looking at it like, well, the starting quarterback can't do anything. If Mac would have come in and not been able to do anything, then it looks like both of our, our first string and second string, and I think there's some validity to that. But I want to go back to, you're right about Tua, but then let's look at the very next year in the SEC championship game when Tua came out and Jalen went in and won us the SEC championship game against Georgia the following year. Here's some of what I think happens. Once that game was going on, I don't know, I've never been a football player, but I feel like you can almost lose your receivers during a game. Almost like, well, he's not been getting the ball to us. He's not been throwing great passes. We haven't been making anything happen. It's almost like putting somebody else in will give the offense a spark, right? Which is what I think as Alabama fans, we were all thinking. We just looked so blah. We just, I mean, I guess I can give accolades to Ty Simpson. He did have that one interception. I think it was tipped, but he took a couple sacks. When as before he was trying to push that ball out and it's gotten strip fumbled. Yeah. There were a few things I think he did better than what he's done in the past. But Trey, the best couple drives we had was almost like towards the end of the game where it was like we were just playing. It wasn't like it was almost like they knew we weren't going to win and they just started playing football. Does that make sense? Like they started throwing the ball. They started moving with some speed on the offense. Like all this take it down to the one. Like just hike the ball, throw the ball. If it's an incomplete pass, do it again.
Well,
something's bound to stick.
No, you're exactly right, and it's funny. I'm not sure if it was on the drive that we scored. It might have been, but I mean, we ran a receiver hook and ladder play in the middle of a game.
Right.
I mean, Alabama ran a hook and ladder from across the field where our receiver caught it and threw it 20 yards across the field. I mean, this is how we're picking up yards.
Right.
This is how we're moving the ball down the field. I mean, it's a little scary. And I said it during our podcast. Throw the long ball. Chicks dig the long ball.
Right.
Because three things can happen. You watch pro teams do it all the time. On 3rd and 11, you throw a 45-yard deep ball. Either you could get a pass interference.
Right.
Our guy could catch the ball. It could be an incomplete pass. Or worst case scenario, they intercept the ball 40 yards down the field.
That's right.
I mean, it's no different than a punt. I mean, I don't understand. And of course, that drive that we scored, we threw the ball deep 3 or 4 different times. We got a pass interference one time. It hit Ryan Williams, unfortunately, right in the chest one time. I hate that happened.
Yep.
And Ryan Williams did play a better game. And listen, I'm not trying to harp on our players, man. These guys are out there trying as hard as they possibly can try. I appreciate the effort of the Alabama players. It just doesn't seem like our coaching staff is giving these guys the best chance to win the game.
Right.
And the other point to it is too, Wendy, Georgia's a good football team.
Yes.
It's not like we got beat by an inferior team that we just weren't ready to play. Georgia is a great football team.
Right.
And in the second half where it's 21-7, and we do get the ball back 21-7. Now we went 3 and out, or we went 4 and out. Kalen DeBoer decides to go for it on the 12-yard line with 8 minutes to go and 3 timeouts, Wendy. I'm thinking punt the ball, stop them. We still would get 2 possessions out of this thing. I thought it was a little early. I did hear Kalen DeBoer say after the game, he's like, look, I'm trying to win the game. I'm not worried about the score. I'm not worried about the CFP. I'm trying to win an SEC championship game. And, hey, if you're going to gamble, at least you're going to gamble. Who knows? We might not have got the ball back, Wendy. But Georgia, great win. And they deserve to win the football game.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Alabama played like trash. And let's move this over into, what were you thinking last night? So, it goes off and I'm just like, oh my gosh, right? Then I went through the 12 stages of grief. If y'all have never heard of that, it's a real thing. First stage is anger, by the way. And boy, anger was not in it to win it. I looked at my husband. I was like, Chris, I don't even care. I don't care if we go. We don't deserve to go. I don't want to watch us play another game where we look this bad and embarrass ourselves on a national level. Let's just end the season. Second-year coach. He got us to the SEC championship game. By the way, there was a coach called Nick Saban who also got us to the SEC championship game his second year, and we didn't win it. So I can call this year a win, right? I can call it a win. And let's just move on with the day, right? Then it kind of turned over into pity. And then it was poor, pitiful me. And, so then we get to this morning. And then I decided I wanted to be in the college football playoff. And I didn't really care that we lost to Georgia. It was a fluke. You know what I mean? We can't get penalized for playing in a game when if we'd sat on the couch yesterday, we were automatically in, right? You were adamant that we were getting in. I think a lot of us Alabama fans maybe went back and forth. I think they tried to spin the narrative all week that if Alabama, laid an egg, which we did, maybe they wouldn't get in. That proved today to be untrue. They didn't move us, and we're in the college football playoff. And Trey, honestly, I don't really care how bad we look. That's how it should be. You cannot punish the SEC.
Well, that's fine, and it's done. Well, it's done, and it's a done deal. But Wendy, last night in the text thread, you had went to bed. What happened to that?
Well, then I decided I was going to go watch a Hallmark movie because this is what I do when I get mad. I just go from one extreme to the other. It's like 0 to 100. There's never been any in between on Wendy Davis Charday. Not a day in my life have I ever been at a 50. I'm either at 0 or I'm at 100 to 110. So then, though, it was around that where I got really mad when we went for it on the 4th down and didn't get it because it's 8 minutes and I just felt like that was the end of the game. But then I decided to suck it up, keep watching, because at the end of the day, I bleed crimson and I was just going to be there for my team. But, I'm still a little mad today.
And even the play call on 4th and 2. We're throwing a 5-yard out from the far hash to the sideline. A 60-yard throw to pick up 2 yards. Give me a break, man. But anyway, that game is over. There was a lot of things going on, Wendy. I just never thought they were going to leave us out after the game was over. And we'll wrap up yesterday. Kirk Herbstreit, I don't know what the guy's talking about on there, but he's bashing us and about Notre Dame and about this and about that. And I'm like, hell, Kirk. Aren't you looking out for the SEC? And I'm not saying you have to be a hardcore homer, but at least give Alabama some credit. Like, what if this is a blowout? Notre Dame. Kurt, Notre Dame. Tell Notre Dame to go get in the conference, and we're going to talk about that in a second. I don't know, Kurt. I understand you have to be biased. You have to be non-biased, and you're some, I look at the big picture type guy. Don't know if that's who I won't call in the SEC championship game. When you're just, I'm not saying you have to be a complete homer, but dude, we get it. You're unbiased. But, I was getting ticked at him last night. He's like, Georgia's let his foot off the gas. They're up 21 points. Well, hell yeah, they're up 21 points. When you're up 21 points, all you're trying to do is run the clock out, Kirk.
Right. That's everybody, Kirk. But not only that, Kirk, who do you work for? NBC? You work for NBC? You getting
Yeah.
some of that Catholic money from the Notre Dame? What are you doing? But second off, you got to have something to talk about. How about you pull up? We had the hardest 4 weeks in college football that we've already beat Georgia at home at a night game already this year. We've got the best win out of every win in college football, and it was
Yeah.
against the Georgia Bulldogs. How about it wasn't the second game of the year, Kirk? How about it was the fourth game of the year? Almost to the middle of the season when we beat them. How about you give us a little bit of credit for what we've done? You want to talk about Oklahoma? Well, they lost to Oklahoma. We lost to Oklahoma by 3 points. We had a bad game. Then you want to say, well, in a bad Auburn team. It doesn't matter. It's a rivalry game. A bad Auburn team has beat me in the past.
That was the frustration with me, Wendy.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I get over that stuff pretty quick. That's fine. I mean, of course, I'm a little bit on edge because Alabama looked so bad because at one point it did look like it's like, we in some trouble. All right, Wendy, we survive.
We survive.
We make it into the playoffs. Let's get into the CFP.
Yep.
Now we're in.
We're in.
All you hear about Alabama is how many players we got hurt. And Destiny was talking on the way home today. Is like all these players are hurt. Does anybody know what's wrong with these players? Cuevas, do we know what's wrong with them? Jam Miller, do we know what's wrong with them?
They're all lower leg injuries. Cuevas was in a boot. He was a game time decision yesterday. I don't think he played, right?
He might have played a couple snaps. Of course, they didn't bring that up on the broadcast. Because, I sat there and watched the whole thing, and they talked about Bobo not playing. My God, we know Georgia Center's not in the freaking game.
Right.
My God, how could you ever run a play without Bobo in a game? I don't know. How are they going to get through? I don't know. The two other guard All-Americans that's sitting right next to the center, they might help the guy out.
Right.
Anyway, Cuevas, we're going to have to get some of these guys back, Wendy. We're going to go play Oklahoma. What is your early thoughts? We have some people – let's talk about the selection part of this real quick because Barry, and I don't want to call Barry out, but Barry just does not seem to understand, and I'm not speaking for Barry. Barry, you can come on here. We can talk about it. Barry's not happy with the committee of how they decided how these teams get in.
Okay.
And he says he doesn't think it's really rational how they do this, but he's not happy with the selection process.
Okay.
And so where the big rub is coming is basically you have a team like Notre Dame, Vanderbilt, Texas are the three big teams that got left out that really probably would definitely beat JMU.
Yeah.
Probably going to beat the Tulane. So I think a lot of people just logically look at this board and go, okay, Tulane's in, JMU's in, and we have teams like Notre Dame, Vanderbilt, and Texas sitting at home.
Right.
What are we doing? Well, I'm not telling you I'm an expert on this stuff. As y'all know, I very rarely even watch the stuff as during the season. But the problem is the way this is set up, it's like a requirement that they're in.
Right.
And when the ACC, Duke won the ACC tournament last night, it sneaks, instead of Virginia going in that slot, it sneaks JMU going into that slot.
Right.
So there's y'all, everybody's going to be like, you're an idiot. I think there's 5 spots that are guaranteed spots in this thing. If I'm looking at this right, there's 5 spots that are guaranteed.
And it goes to the 5 highest ranked conferences.
5 highest ranked conference winners.
Right. Yes.
So there are 5 teams that are going to be required to get in, no matter theoretically, as long as they're ranked.
Right.
So I do think it's flawed. I mean, I think it's obvious that the last 2 teams that get in, we've got 3 teams sitting on the outside that should have been let in. So that was Barry's big gripe. Barry, I think, has been talking for years about just 1 through 12, put them in and let them go. And there will probably be some changes there. Wendy, real quick, and then we'll get to this.
But let me say this too. The ACC has their problem with how they did their Miami squeaking in, which I think was the right call. I know we'll talk about that in a minute. But I understand what Barry's saying. I'm kind of with him. Why aren't the 12 best teams in? Like just the 12 best teams if you're one of the 12? Because it almost looks like, let's take Tulane. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but Ole Miss has already played Tulane this year and rocked them by 3 scores. So Ole Miss and Tulane already played at the in the.
They played this year or last year?
They played. I thought they played this year.
Okay.
Look up Ole Miss's schedule. So if I talk about this for an hour. So I think they played this year, and I think they beat them by 3 scores. So now you've got a rematch of Tulane and Ole Miss that Ole Miss has already rocked, like killed them. You know what I mean? It wasn't a close game, and sure. I mean, I'm
45 to 10.
Okay, so we've got a rematch of a cupcake, what we in the SEC would consider a cupcake game, okay? And that's going to be a college football playoff game. And that's where I agree with Barry. Like, good for Ole Miss for pulling that draw. Good for whoever's having to play James Madison. But it does give those teams a little bit more of an advantage, right, of kind of moving through this playoff, right? When you've got, again, Tulane, they've played them. They beat them by 3 scores. So I don't necessarily disagree with Barry, but unfortunately, they don't pay me and Barry to make decisions. If they did, it'd be an unflawed system. It'd be perfect.
Yeah, and I think probably for me, it's like, okay, it comes out and, well, this really doesn't make sense. Well, this has been the selection thing the whole year. Like,
right.
This is not like they decided this is the way it was today.
Right.
And I think this is a really big factor for Notre Dame not getting in. They're not in a conference. They lost head-to-head. Their strength of schedule was absolutely atrocious.
Right.
And I think it finally caught up to Notre Dame, and I think a lot of people are surprised that Miami got in over Notre Dame.
Well, I think the reason people are surprised is that they've had they've had Miami behind Notre Dame the entire time. It wasn't like they were – now, what – I listened to a little bit. You have to remember, I was at church during the thing, so I was like that terrible pew person, being like, Trey, tell me who gets in while I'm sitting there singing Jesus is King. I'm just saying. We only have one service at my church, so I didn't have a way to get to an earlier service. But what I heard on the way home was Reese Davis asking Hunter, the committee head,
he did,
how in the world did this happen? Well, the guy finally figured out to say that they really had BYU. They had Notre Dame, BYU, then Miami. Then BYU lost, and then that put it to head-to-head, and they won the head-to-head. But, why all that couldn't have been said in last week or last Tuesday or the Tuesday before, because, one, I think they need something to talk about and have us all twerked up about. You know what I mean? And it worked because it's all anybody's talked about. It's all anybody's been on X and listening to these call-in shows that I listen to all the time. But Miami deserves to be in over Notre Dame for 2 reasons. 1, the head-to-head. 1, the strength of schedule. And 2, you're never going to join a conference, so you're never going to have to play in a 13th game, ever.
Well,
ever.
Yeah, but if you say the 13th game doesn't matter, Wendy, their strength of schedule and everything was very similar. And since they were very similar, I think the head-to-head outweighed them too. And I also think Miami's the only ACC team in this thing. Yeah. I mean, if you don't put a Notre Dame in above a Miami who beat them, heads up, we've said that ad nauseum, but you're not only doing that, you're kicking out the entire ACC conference.
Yeah.
And that's why I say Notre Dame finally got the bad end of the deal of not being in a conference. It was either Notre Dame, who you could look at on paper and figure out maybe better than Miami, or you could put Miami, who's in a conference of a team we don't have in yet, of a major conference in our game. Notre Dame finally got bit, and that's their own problem. I don't.
And here's the deal: I don't even like Notre Dame. I've never liked Notre Dame, and when I tell y'all, my parents have hated Notre Dame our whole entire life. Remember, Trey? It was. You talk about haterade. It was all Notre Dame, and I can remember when I got old enough to really understand football. I'd be like, but we don't ever even play Notre Dame, really. Back when I growing up watching. Yeah. And it did not matter. When I tell you my father could not stand.
Well, it all comes back from the 60s and 70s when Alabama, they gave the national championship. And it was actually a team our dad was on, which was the 1966 team. And there's a book out called The Missing Ring. Alabama was undefeated. They gave it to Notre Dame, who had just tied a game with Michigan State or something like
Right.
that. And so there was and then Alabama and Notre Dame played in some really big football games. And
Big games.
I think Notre Dame actually beat Alabama several times. So there's a hatred there. That's not what this is about for me.
Well,
this
it is for me, Trey. It is for me.
Excuse me. I've been battling this. So anyway, that's that. Let's get down to the brass tacks. Let me go through. I sent out a quick message to our group. Chris Arnold, Nacho. He says about the Alabama game coming up. Gonna find out what this coaching staff is made of.
Yeah.
Really, Chris looks like he's wanting some adjustments made. Daniel Beck, he is very into this. Has some really good points. We will get Kalen DeBoer's best with 2 weeks of prep. So he likes it. We're getting 2 weeks for Kalen DeBoer. And Daniel included this. My goals for the team: beat Auburn. Alabama beat Auburn. 10-win season. Alabama had a 10-win season. SEC championship game. We got into it. We didn't win it.
Right.
Playoffs, national championship. So far, so good. Roll Tide. So everything's checked off the box right now for Daniel. We've got a couple more to jump off. And I think this is Corbin. Corbin have to be better at on the field mid-game changes like that. Seems we stick to whatever and never pivot. Corbin, I believe that is you. What's up, by the way? Hope you're doing well, man. And very good point. Very good point. And that goes back to what I was saying about a square peg through a round hole. Never seems like Alabama makes a lot of changes, Wendy.
I agree.
And Corbin just brought it up. Those are some of the things that people do want to see in the CFP. What do you think?
So what I want to see is I just want to beat Oklahoma. I mean, Trey, pull up real quick while I'm talking our record against Oklahoma, not just NC, not regular season bowl. I'm talking how many times has Alabama beat Oklahoma? And I'm going to say this, guys, I'm pretty sure it hadn't been a lot. There might be something from like 1920 to 28 that I just don't know about. But what I'm saying is they seem to be our bugaboo. We just can't. They almost kept us out of the college football playoff this year, y'all.
What I'm looking at, Wendy, it says Alabama has a 1-5 record against Oklahoma. Oklahoma has won the majority of their meetings, with the most recent occurring this year.
So we played them 5 times and won 1. I mean, I understand it's not a lot of times to play, y'all, but we lost to them in Norman last year. They beat us in Tuscaloosa this year. Now, sure, you can look at this year's game and say, take 2 of those turnovers away, right? And we could have won that game. But at the end of the day, I just want to know if we can beat Oklahoma or if they are our bugaboo. Because if they are, we're stuck playing them because they're in a conference with us now. So what I want to do is I want to take it one step at a time, and that is to beat Oklahoma. What time's that game? 6 o'clock Central?
No, it's going to be 7 Central.
My gosh, I won't be able to make it through the day. But that's what I want to do.
On a Friday.
Of course, they've got us kicking off the college football playoff. Yes, they do. They know what they're doing. It's Alabama. But I'm going to tell you something. We got to get past them. And their quarterbacks.
Well, what do you think? What do you think we have to do to get past them, Wendy?
We can't throw 42 interceptions like we did the last time, and our offense has got to play better. Our defense is doing a good job. I really can't knock on our defense. Now, I think Zabion Brown got hurt last night. I think he got number 2 on our defense. I think he got hurt. I don't know how bad it is or if they just kept him out because they didn't want to put him back. I don't know. We're going to have to get an injury report between now and our next.
Yeah, and we will figure out when that next time will be on is. Hopefully we can have a little bit more of a festive atmosphere going into the CFP. Look to get Nacho on, maybe Barry on, maybe some other people on, and kind of dive into this a little bit. We just wanted some instant reaction from yesterday's game, getting into the CFP.
Well, what are your thoughts on playing Oklahoma? Now, let me say this. Go ahead.
No, the injury thing is a funny thing because everyone's like, oh, we'll get some time to rest. Well, we're basically playing in a 12 or 13 days. Right. This is not like we're Georgia and we're not playing till New Year's Day.
Right.
Or the 25th, whenever New Year's Day is when the next set of games are. I mean, how much better can a twisted ankle be with 5 extra days of rest? Because you still have to prep for the game. Now, one good thing is we do know what Oklahoma does. Right. I don't think the prep will be as extensive. But what does the offensive coaches come up with, I think, is what it is. And how can our coaches get the edge back for Alabama?
Right.
Because that's what we're going to have to face. We're going to have to get the edge back, get some players back. but I think we're going to have to be a little bit more creative. I think we're going to have to be a little bit more creative on offense, take some deep shots, and really outcoach this team. I
Yeah.
don't want to see another deal, and I don't know how we do this. I don't want to see another deal where it's the Brent Venables over there on the sideline and our offensive coordinator sitting in there trying to get into a you know what match.
Right.
Well, you're going to show me this, I'm going to do this. We're going to change it right with 1 second to play. You know, I liked what Ohio State did to Oklahoma, or it was Clemson maybe a couple, 3 years ago, is they would have a short huddle, which is 3 or 4 yards behind the ball.
Right.
They would wait till there was 10 seconds on the clock, on the play clock. They would have the play called, and they would run to the line of scrimmage and run the play. They wouldn't let Brent Venables call out the play. They didn't give them time to make all these adjustments, and they hit them where it hurts. I mean, you got to see something creative. Run an up-tempo offense. Run fast pace for something. Any type of change on the offense will be, I think, will go a long way. But a lot of it's going to be getting our guys back motivated and back with the edge.
Yes.
That's what I'm wanting to see. And Wendy, we'll have to talk a little bit more later. We're about to get off here. Do you have anything else to add?
No, just, roll tide and listen for all the naysayers that are somehow going to find their way to this page other than our 32 listeners that we have.
We have 108 subscribers. Subscribe and like, please. That'll be good. And this goes out on podcast, too. I forget to say that. But it's on Apple and Spotify.
Anybody that just rolls on past and you want to say Alabama deserves to be in, Alabama deserves to be in. Like, it is what it. We played terrible yesterday. It is what it is. But we fought hard all season. We had a tough schedule. We beat a lot of teams. It doesn't matter how anybody wants to say Auburn. We beat Auburn, with a nothing to lose team. That's another thing I hate that none of the commentators bring up. A lot of times we get these teams and they have nothing to lose at that point. So they're gonna play a different kind of ball game. You know what I mean? So what I will say is Alabama has just as good of a shot of beating Oklahoma as Oklahoma does Alabama. So I do think if we were to beat Oklahoma, we might have gotten a pretty good seeding that we'd have Indiana and kind of work our way through there.
Well, the thing, let me just finish this up by saying this. Vanderbilt played Alabama. Alabama beat Vanderbilt. Texas lost 3 regular season games.
They sure did.
And played in overtime in some other games. And just, but that's Texas. And Notre Dame just got beat by the SEC. I don't think Alabama should have to apologize for being in this thing. Not at all. No. And I ain't trying to back up. Alabama should have been in the thing. Wendy, let's just talk about this real quick. We got to get off here. All right, here we go. Alabama, Oklahoma. Now, if we win that game, we go to play Indiana, who beat Ohio State last night in a wild game. And there was a point in time that Wendy, I was becoming an Indiana fan. I might be a Kirk Cignetti fan.
I am a Kirk Cignetti fan.
Well, you could be. It depends on that. On January 1st, if Alabama wins that game, they would play Indiana.
Okay.
Georgia will have to play the winner of the Ole Miss Tulane game.
Right.
So it looks like Georgia's going to be playing Ole Miss again.
Okay.
Is everything okay, Wendy?
So I just looked up my windows. I have 2 German Shepherds, okay? And we blame the puppy for everything. And when I say the puppy is 2 years old, Major, my oldest one, is 5 years old. And I just looked up, and he has gotten the back end of the pooper scooper, and he's just running around the yard with it. But we blame the little dog for everything. You know what I mean? But I actually think it's the older dog. But anyway, go ahead. It was just funny.
And Miami and Texas A&M, Ohio State plays the winner there. JMU, Oregon, Texas Tech. So right now, it looks like if Ole Miss does get to the Georgia game, it looks like Georgia has to beat Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And then they would have to beat either Ohio State, Texas A&M, or Miami are the only other 3 teams they would have to beat to get into the national championship game. So It really looks like Georgia could make a run in this thing again,
easy.
Wendy.
And honestly, Trey, I think Georgia's the number 2 team in the country. I think they are. I think they should have. I think it should have been Indiana 1, Georgia 2, Ohio State 3. That's just personal opinion. I think Georgia's that good. I'm not just saying that because they beat us. I've said it. Georgia's the real deal, and they've got a hell of a coach.
So everybody out there, we hope y'all have a great Sunday. Mommy B is doing better. Hey, Mommy B. I think she's Mommy B. I think she's going to get to go home today. If you're listening to this, roll tide.
Big shout out to Gina. Our sister Gina's driving up there today. We've all been out there. So Gina's taking what we're calling the third shift. So Gina's headed out there today. So big shout out to Gina.
Yeah. Bama does play again, and Georgia plays again. A lot of SEC teams play. Everybody out there, good to see you. Wendy, I love you. I don't know when we're going to do this again. Maybe we jump on here on Thursday, or I don't know if we skip this week and come back the next week. I would really like some other people to be on here with us to make it a little bit more festive. So anyway, I love you. Hope everybody's doing well. Have a great Sunday. Talk to y'all soon.
All right. Love you. Roll Tide. We're in.
All right. Love you. All right. Bye.
Bye.